Hello everyone. So today's video is going to be a fun little Q&A. So I asked you guys on Instagram to send in some questions. Could be about anything. It didn't matter. But I just figured it would be fun to do a little Q&A, a little life update. It's been a while since I've done one. I think I saw one in here that you guys want more videos with Ross, so we will work on that. But feel free to leave any video recommendations that you guys want to see down below too over here, so that way I can start planning out my next month for content. I really appreciate getting feedback from you guys. But without further ado, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're brand new, and let's get into it. All right, so the first question that I have here, are you doing Montessori school with Kay? Why or why not? So I did Montessori school with Riley when she was about, I think it was 22 or 24 months, because COVID put a little hiatus on it. Because right when she was literally about to go, she was about to go on the Monday, they shut down on the Friday before. So we had to wait so many months for them to reopen again. And so yeah, so I did it with Riley. I am a Montessori certified preschool teacher as well. That's what I used to do before YouTube. So yeah, with baby Kay, we are planning on doing it. It's just about getting into a school. I think she's ready for it. What I really love about Montessori is it really sets a really good foundation for the child, to where it teaches them basically to be independent, to respect the environment, learning to clean up after themselves, having natural consequences, and it teaches them a lot of practical life skills. And I really love that for the beginning, because it shows the importance of it. And I think it's set a really good foundation for Riley, and I've seen it do wonders for children. So I really would love to get Kinsley into it, even though I'm gonna be very sad not having my nanny, because I love her. But it's definitely time for Kinsley to get into something a little bit more stimulating, be in those social interactions, go with that whole structured routine and following that structure. I think she really kind of needs it now as she's getting to be older. We are aiming on getting her in. I have her on what you would call a wait list. I don't even know. They're supposed to be getting back to me to letting me know if there's going to be any spaces available and when. So I've just been waiting for that. Okay, so the next question that I have here is, what are some unexpected challenges you've come across moving in together? So I really want to answer this one, because it's something you just would never really think of, and something I never thought of. But I would say a big challenge for us is, for anyone to be honest, is when you're blending families. I have 2 kids and Ross has 2 kids. His are 6 and 8, mine are 2 and 4. We have mine primarily majority of the time. So I would say that was probably the most challenge there, because of different parenting styles. So Ross and I have very similar parenting styles, but we do have some little differences. And then with his ex has very different parenting styles. So there's different expectations set at each house, and I think that is probably the most challenging. But we got together, we made house rules, and we are staying firm on them, and I think that is really helpful. So I would say my best advice for anyone who's planning on blending families is to sit down with your partner, make a house rules list, together, just you two, and be firm. Okay, this is what we're expecting of them, and then if they do not follow these rules, these are the consequences. And that way you can sit down with each set of kids, talk to them about the house rules, what the consequences are. Even Ross said he goes leaving a piece, a house rule sheet in his car to go over with the kids, prime them before coming to the house, because there just are some differences in lifestyles in different home environments. Here I'm very big about, it's kind of the Montessori thing, you clean up after yourself. I really set expectations, what should be expected at certain ages, and also even if they were in a classroom, what would be expected of them. And it's basically push in your chair, take your plate to the sink. If you have trash, don't throw it on the floor, throw it in the trash can. If you are playing with toys, then you need to put them away when you're done with it. We also treat the toys with care and respect, and it's just different things like that. And then also when we speak to others, we speak kindly, we speak respectfully. Just those things that should be expected. So that's where it was kind of like one thing that we had to like really like, I wish that we would have done in the very beginning, is to set these house rules from the get-go, and then did it. But now we're kind of learning, and it's all a learning process, and it's getting better. But that has probably been our biggest challenge. And that's like my biggest advice for anyone who's planning on blending families, is to go and sit down with their spouse beforehand, do a house rule situation, and then really go over it with each set of kids separately, and let them know like what is expected of them, and to really follow through and be consistent with everything. Okay, so the next question I have here is, any summer vacations planned out? So for Ross and I, we are planning on going to Minnesota. His sister rents a house out there every single year for about a month, because that's where he grew up. And he likes to take his kids out there for a week, and then we're going out there separately for a week, just us like two. And then it's going to be really fun, because his sister is going to be with her husband. They'll have no kids, we'll have no kids, and it will just be a fun little adult time, which I'm really excited about. But we're definitely planning like doing things like, you know, taking the girls in the future. It's just about waiting till Kinsley gets a little bit older. It's harder for her to keep up with the older kids. I don't like to push them. And I know with Kinsley, like, she needs those naps. She has a hard time with transitions. So I don't want to put her in a situation that is not going to suit her best. So I like to wait until she's a little bit older. So we're going to wait until she's about 3, which will be next March. She'll be potty trained then. It'll be a lot easier. The naps won't be as like super crucial. So I think it will be a lot easier next summer with them. But we are planning a trip with my family in August. So I don't know where we're going to go. We're thinking Truckee or something, because my parents recently rented a house out there and they really liked it. So we're looking into that for in August. I think we're getting the dates set here soon. So that's what we're planning on doing with the girls. But yeah, so it's kind of more of a chillax summer. It's kind of like this when they're so young, but once they get older, it gets easier to travel with them. Then we're going to do a lot more. All right, so the next question that I have here is best advice for postpartum era due in late August. So congratulations on your little one. So basically I have a couple videos I believe on this channel. One is everything you would need postpartum. Definitely check that out. It's really helpful. And also, I think I might even have videos like talking about breastfeeding and my journey, postpartum journey, everything. I would definitely check those ones out. But I think what I'll give you like a little brief, like a bit of advice is, number one is sit down with your partner before you have the baby and communicate with one another. Communicate what your expectations are of them. So let's say you have your partner, you know, talk about how your night routines are gonna go, how your morning routines are going to go. Like, let's say if you're nursing and stuff and you're like, hey, I would really like it if you help me get the baby out of the bassinet, change the diaper, I'll nurse the baby, all that. Or you could say, hey, I'll handle the night times by myself so you can sleep, but can you help me out in the morning so I can sleep a little bit longer, so take the baby in the morning, and kind of come up with a plan together. I think that is what's really helpful. What honestly makes your postpartum journey the most helpful, in my opinion, is having a very supportive partner that is someone who's easy to communicate with and who really puts your needs at a very high priority, because it's really difficult during that time. You're getting a lack of sleep. You are having a surge of hormones going on. And it's a huge life change too if it's your first. If it's your first, that is probably the hardest postpartum of all time. The second is way easier because you already had that huge life change. So the second doesn't really affect you in that way as much. I would say the first one is kind of more like, I can't just get up and go whenever I want anymore. I can't sleep whenever I want anymore. I can't sit whenever I want anymore. Like, it completely leaves you. And a lot of the times is that life change is really put on the woman and not so much the man, because the man just continues doing what he wants to do. And the woman is having to change everything. And that's not healthy. And that creates a lot of resentment in the relationship, which is why it's so important to communicate with your spouse or your partner or anyone, of saying, like, these are my expectations of you. Like, we made this baby together. You are going to be just as responsible for this baby as well. And you have to work as a team, making time for each other during that time, making time, like having one spouse step up here to watch the baby so you can go and have your time too. Because, you know, a big thing too is that when you have kids with moms, you kind of lose a sense of self, which is one thing I never wanted to lose my work, was because that gave me like my little thing, like that was mine, that made me feel like myself. So it's finding those things that really help you keep your identity of not just being a mom, but also just being a woman and a person and yourself. So it's hard, it's rough. And the biggest thing is communication. So just communicate with your partner as often as you can. Get a game plan, and also don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask family members, find like, there's really good sitter places that you can like go, like we use Munchkin Minders. They have really good qualified sitters that they vet, do background checks, everything on. Just like make sure that you make time for yourself, you make time for your partner, because also sometimes the men, they feel like they lose their wives during this time because the wife is all about the baby. So don't forget about him too. So that's like another thing to really think of. And like I've talked to Ross about this because he's really good at communicating. And he's like, you know, this is what he's like, he goes, people don't talk about also what the man goes through. And I go, yeah, that's true. Women, I will say, go through a lot more. But the man, like also, they feel like they're losing their wives. So don't forget about the guy as well. It's just finding that balance. It's going to be rocky in the very beginning, which is why they say that marital satisfaction is to be at its highest when you decide to have kids. Because if it's not, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. I remember talking to my ex about this when I was pregnant with Kinsley, and she was due in March and this was in December. And he told me he was going to be taking on even more work for the next year. And I was just like, this is not going to work. And I said it to him, I nearly cried. We're sitting in the kitchen and I go, hey, we are already struggling enough as it is right now. And the fact that you are adding on more work to be gone when we're about to have a baby, when our marital satisfaction is already so low, I go, we are not going to make it. And I looked at him and I said, you are basically putting the nail in the coffin to this relationship that it's not going to work. And guess what? He moved out when she was 4 months old. He did not listen. I communicated, and I know it's hard, but that's what thing is like really important too. Like I think there needs to be more knowledge and more sharing of like kind of these things before people decide to have kids, to see like, okay, kids are not just like rainbows and butterflies and taking them to Disneyland. No, there's a lot of things that change once you have kids. And that's why marital satisfaction is so important, and to make sure that it's high before you decide to have kids, because it really does take a toll, and communication is huge. So just try to communicate with your partner as much as you can, and make sure you guys are on the same page. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Try to find, like, you know, sometimes there's grandparents that are really helpful. If you don't have grandparents or aunts or uncles that are not very helpful, try to find a regular sitter that you can count on and to help you guys out, to have your own time together. And then also, you know, you help out the other one to have some time for themselves, and then they help out you to have some time for yourself. It's just finding that balance and communicating it. So that is my best advice there. Okay, so this kind of segues me into the next question too, is how not to get frustrated when dealing with a clinging toddler. How do you get alone time? So number one, I know it's frustrating. It can get to be a lot sometimes. Like moms get overstimulated too from all the emotions that are coming from a toddler and being with it day in and day out. So I know it's definitely hard. I would say find activities that would really get their attention. You can make sensory bends, you can do art activities. There's a lot of ideas on Pinterest that you can do. Just find anything you can, take them to the park, let them run around, find anything that's going to help promote some independence for them, so that way they're not so clingy on you. Don't be afraid to ask for help too. Like, you know, if you've got grandparents, aunts, uncles, anyone that's helpful, or even sitters, don't be afraid to ask for help. And also communicate with your partner, being like, hey, I'm exhausted, I'm overstimulated, I need help. Like, you know, if they've been working all day and you're a stay-at-home mom, they should help out when they get home anyways. It's just because I swear being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest thing than anything, and me and my sister always talk about this, like how literally work feels like a break. Yeah, I wish you the best of luck. I know it's not easy. There's also a place in San Diego that's opening. My friend is opening it. It's called Lula Bar, and I think it's in Carlsbad, and it's getting ready to open here soon. But basically what she created is a place for moms to go to get a break. So basically they have a whole play area with people to like for childcare, and then they have a spot to do your nails and like get pampered and everything, so that way you have childcare to go get your nails done. And I'm like, this is the best thing that she legit came up with, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be so helpful for so many moms. So yeah, definitely recommend checking out Lula Bar in Carlsbad. Okay, so the next question that I have here is any plans to move into a larger home? So yeah, we have plans in the future, honestly no time soon. But eventually we are going to have to move into a larger home because once these kids become teenagers, there's just no way. This house will be way too small. But right now we are very content. I love my house. I love my neighborhood. I don't want to leave it. So I'm really content and happy with where I'm at. But eventually we'll get there. I don't know when though. Probably like not for another 5 years or so. Who knows? Like honestly, like I don't know where we'll be at, but definitely we'll need a bigger house. But right now we're both fine. I don't want to deal with a move. Do you know how much of a pain it would be to pack up this house and move? I will always keep my house and I will rent it out because I'm in such a great neighborhood, great school district. So I will never get rid of my house, but I just have no desire leaving. I like it here. I love my neighborhood. We got a park right behind our house and it's super easy to get to. We've got pools. We're right near Riley's school. And I'm right here by my family. I love this place. So I'm perfectly content with staying here for a while. All right, so those are all the questions I'm going to answer today. I feel like we had like it was very consistent topic through it all because those were majority of my questions, where it's a lot about like co-parenting and like, communication with the partner and all that. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.